Stop wasting your healthiest years working for a number that some suit at a desk made up. I am talking about that $120,000 or $6 million target that keeps you awake at 3 a.m. Vanguard just dropped some research that is honestly kind of frustrating because it is trapping people in cubicles for an extra decade. They want you to believe you need to replace 80% of your income before you can even think about quitting. If you make $300,000 today, they say you need $237,000 a year in retirement math check. That is a $6 million portfolio using the 4% rule. Only about 1% of households in the United States actually have that kind of cash. So most of you are looking at your screen, seeing your 2 million or 3 million and feeling like a failure. Listen to me. You are not behind. The math you are using is just lazy. Generic retirement advice is like buying a suit that is one size fits all. It fits nobody. Let us look at a real couple 62 years old making $300,000 with 2.5 million saved. Under the Vanguard model, they are a lifetime away from retiring. They would have to grind for another 11 years, hitting the clock until they are 73. But when we actually look at their life, they only spend $179,000 right now. And $40,000 of that is for college tuition that disappears in 4 years. Why would you fund a $40,000 expense for 30 years if it only lasts for 4? This is where the big bank logic falls apart because it does not account for the reality of your spending. Retirement is not one giant mountain of cash. It is a pie made of different slices. The first slice is your actual spending need, not your current salary. You do not pay payroll taxes in retirement. You are not saving for retirement. While in retirement, your spending is not a straight line, it is a smile. You spend more at 65 because you are traveling and drinking that nice wine. You spend less at 75 because you are chilling on the porch. Then it might go up at 85 for healthcare, but it is never a flat 80% of your old salary. The second slice is your guaranteed income, like Social Security or a pension. Our couple gets $52,000 from Social Security at age 67. That means the portfolio does not have to carry the whole $179,000 load. The third slice is the most important, and that is tax location. $2 million in a Roth IRA is not the same as $2 million in a 401k. Uncle Sam owns a huge chunk of your pre-tax accounts, so you better plan for that haircut. When we ran the real numbers for this couple, they were not 11 years away. They were actually 17 months away from freedom. Think about that. That is a 9.5-year difference in your life. That is nearly a decade of your life given back to you because we used real data instead of a shortcut. Those are years you could spend with grandkids, traveling, or just not answering to a boss you hate. The secret sauce here is also flexibility. If the market takes a dump, are you willing to cut your spending by 5% for a year? If you say yes, your probability of success skyrockets. The Vanguard model assumes you are a robot who never changes, but you are a human who can adapt. Stop chasing a generic percentage and start building a withdrawal pie chart. Look at your taxable accounts versus your pre-tax accounts. Check when your mortgage ends or when the kids finally get off your payroll. If you stay at that job for 10 extra years just to hit a $6 million goal you do not need, you are losing. You can always make more money, but you cannot buy back your 60s. Do not let a research paper tell you when your life starts. I want you to really look at your actual bank statements, not your salary. Think about the day you finally turn off that 6 a.m. alarm clock. Imagine walking into your kitchen, making a slow cup of coffee, and realizing you do not owe anyone your time today. The Vanguard paper says you need 80% of your pre-retirement pay. But did they ask if you still have a commute? Did they ask if you are still buying dry clean suits for meetings you hate? Did they ask if you are still contributing $30,000 a year to your 401k? Of course not. They just took your $300,000 salary and hit the multiply button by 0.8. It is a lazy calculation for people who are too busy to care about your specific happiness. Let us dig deeper into the math because the devil is in the details. If you need $179,000 to live and you get $52,000 from Social Security, your portfolio only needs to provide $127,000 at a 4% withdrawal rate. That is $3.1 million. Not $6 million, and that is before we even account for the $40,000 college bill dropping off. Once that bill is gone, your spending need drops to $139,000. Take away Social Security, and your portfolio only needs to spit out $87,000. Suddenly, your $2.5 million portfolio is looking like a powerhouse. You are overfunded, not underfunded. But Vanguard wants you to keep that money in their accounts for another decade. They collect fees while you collect stress. I want you to look at your taxable brokerage account right now. Is it full of VU and SHD? Are you sitting on a pile of unrealized gains? Or is everything locked in a traditional 401k, where every dollar you touch triggers a tax bill? This is where the strategy shifts from accumulating to distributing. It is a totally different game. Accumulating is easy, just keep buying. Distributing is hard, you have to dance with the IRS. If you have $2 million in a traditional IRA, you do not really have $2 million. After federal and state taxes, you might have $1.4 million. If you do not account for that, your retirement plan is a house of cards. But if you have that money in a Roth, every single penny belongs to you. That is why I always tell you guys to look at your tax location. It changes your retirement date by years, not just months. Think about the psychological toll of working those extra years. You are 62, you are healthy, you can still hike, you can still travel. At 73, things might be different, your knees might hurt, your energy might be lower. Vanguard is asking you to trade your best years for a safety margin you might never use. They call it responsible planning. I call it a tragedy. The reality is that most retirees actually spend less as they get older. It is called the retirement spending smile. You go big in the go years. You slow down in the slow, go years. And then you might have medical costs in the no, go years. But even then, your total spending often stays below your peak working years, because you are no longer paying for the lifestyle that a $300,000 job requires. You do not need the expensive car to impress people you do not like. You do not need the $15 salads for lunch every day. You get your time back, which is the ultimate wealth, and yet these broad research papers keep scaring people into staying in the rat race. I see people with $4 million who are terrified to quit because some calculator told them they are at 79% success. Listen, 79% success does not mean a 21% chance of being homeless. It means a 21% chance you might have to adjust your spending. If the SP 500 drops 30%, you just don't take that luxury cruise that year. That is it. That is the big risk. You are an adult. You know how to budget. The software we use, Income Labs, actually builds this flexibility into the plan. It tells you exactly when to tighten the belt and when to loosen it. It gives you guardrails. When the market is up, it tells you to spend more. When the market is down, it tells you to trim the fat. This allows you to retire years earlier than the static 4% rule allows. Static rules are for people who cannot think for themselves. You are here because you want to be smart with your capital. So let S be smart. Look at your withdrawal pie chart today. Calculate your actual core spending, the stuff you need to keep the lights on. Calculate your discretionary spending, the fun stuff. Factor in your Social Security at different ages. Do not just assume you take it at 62 or 70. Run the numbers, look at your tax buckets, and most importantly, ask yourself what you are willing to give up. Are you willing to trade a 5% cut in vacation spending for 10 years of your life back? For most of my clients, that is a no-brainer. They would take that deal every single time. But Vanguard is not offering you that deal. They are offering you a math formula that assumes you want to live exactly like you do now until you are 95. Life does not work that way. Retirement is dynamic. It is a living, breathing thing. I have seen people retire on 1.5 million and live like kings because they knew their numbers. And I have seen people with 10 million who are miserable because they are still chasing the next million. Do not be the person with 10 million and a heart attack. Be the person who knows when enough is enough. The industry wants you to be afraid. Fear keeps you invested. Fear keeps you paying for advice. Fear keeps you working. But data is the cure for fear. When you see that your 2.5 million is actually 17 months away from supporting your dream, the fear vanishes. You start looking at your boss differently. You start looking at your calendar differently. You start realizing that you are the one in control. This couple in our case study, they were shocked. They had resigned themselves to another decade of the grind. They thought they were failing because they were not at 6 million. But once we layered in the college costs ending and the Social Security kicking in, the truth came out. They were ready. They just needed someone to show them the real math. And that is what I am here for. I am the guy who is going to tell you the truth, even if it makes the big banks look bad, because my loyalty is to you, the person trying to build a real life. So go back and audit your expenses, be ruthless, distinguish between what you need and what you were told you need. Account for the taxes. Factor in the flexibility. And if the numbers say you are ready, then be brave enough to walk away. The hardest part of retirement planning is the math. It is the mindset shift. It is going from being a saver to being a spender. It is trusting that your years of discipline have actually paid off. Do not let a generic Vanguard paper steal your 60s. You work too hard for that. You save too much for that. You deserve to enjoy the fruits of your labor while you can still enjoy them. If this video opened your eyes even a little bit, do me a favor, hit that like button so the algorithm shows this to more people who are trapped. Drop a comment below and tell me your retirement number. Is it based on a generic percentage or your actual life? Let us talk about it. And if you want to see how to actually build that withdrawal plan, watch the next video. I am going to show you exactly which accounts to drain first to minimize the tax hit. It is the missing piece of the puzzle. Thanks for hanging out with me today. I know your time is valuable, especially since we just found out you might have more of it than you thought. I am DD07, and I will see you in the next one. Do not settle for generic advice. Build a plan that fits your life. The math does not lie, but the shortcuts do. Go get your time back. Every dollar you saved was a seed planted for your freedom. It is time to start harvesting. Do not wait for 73 if you can do it at 63. Those 10 years are the difference between a good life and a great one. Check your accounts, run the numbers again, be honest about your spending, and I promise you the finish line is closer than it appears in the mirror. Peace.